a big welcome to everybody that's taken the time and the effort this evening to attend today. Certainly all the guests and invitees, probably more than we reckoned that we were going to have arrived, so that's thrilling to see. A big thank you to the trustees that have really pulled all this thing together. Certainly all their contacts through the county have been just brilliant. And of course, a huge thank you for Sir John Timpson for turning up today, as he's obviously the key speaker and somebody of great distinction. If I can just quickly maybe take the mic off there. So if I quickly just tell you how I got involved. I was invited by Robert Bland to attend a function at Ironbridge Museums. It was the first time I'd actually heard of SYST, and I went along and heard the presentations that were being made, and essentially what they were saying was that they wanted people in the business community to step forward and to help and support youth enterprise. Well, that was something we were already partially doing here, so it fitted very well with with our sort of ethos and what we were trying to do. We've got lots of facilities here that we could share. Obviously, shared space was a big thing. We had to offer studio and workshop spaces. We've obviously got some large offices for hot desking, which we could offer. But what we can do with that footfall is we can offer it as a stage to any of these young entrepreneurs to share with us. And we've had several here already, and you've got several around the outskirts of the showroom here to speak to. And they're quite inspiring. It's actually quite peculiar, really, for me as somebody that's getting on a little bit now, to be able to share my experience with them and steer them in the right direction and stop them slipping into some of the holes, deep holes that I've fallen into in the past. Is quite rewarding, and I would recommend it all seriously to anybody here that can also help. It's very worthwhile, and it's almost food for the soul.
Our task is to support young people into starting and building sustainable businesses in Shropshire. Some 16 years ago, the London Youth Support Trust was set up by Philip Howard and Rob Whitmore. We're very privileged to have Rob Whitmore here tonight. Can't see him, but he might wave his hand. There he is. And they had the inspiration for setting up the London Youth Support Trust all those years ago, having spent much time with the Prince's Trust in London. The London Youth Support Trust now has 5 centres in London, 1 in Liverpool, 1 in Hull, and we in Shropshire were much encouraged to carry forward. They have supported thousands of young people over the years, and such that Michael Stoddart and a few fellow trustees decided that Shropshire needed a bit of this, and we felt that young people in Shropshire deserved more support than they might otherwise be getting. I now have 10 tenant businesses operating from our incubation units in our Telford site. We have 42 active assisted businesses. These are young people, businesses who have signed up and agreed to do a number of things to get their business plan together, to get their business running. So we're talking to quite a number of young people, primarily based in Telford up to now. Tonight, however, we're here in the North Shropshire, the new North Shropshire Enterprise Centre. Over the last 18 months, as we've got going, Richard has received a number of inquiries and applicants from far away from Telford, including Oswestry and North Shropshire. So when we bumped into Clive and saw what he was doing here so entrepreneurially with initiative, we felt this was a partner we needed to get along with. And we're therefore delighted that Clive has offered us this facility here, and we're very excited about progressing businesses in this North Shropshire, Oswestry area?
I left and decided to pursue my dream of being self-employed and starting a skincare company. So that was a couple of years ago now. We launched in July 2015, and since then, fortunately, the business has grown and started supplying to salons across England, Wales and Scotland, with plans to start exporting as well later in the year. So it's been really, really exciting, and the product is now stocked by 17 salons and beauty professionals across the UK. And we also sell via the website as well, directly to consumers. So it's been really amazing watching it grow from a bedroom business to what it is today. So I'm also going to talk a little bit about where Richard and the Shropshire Youth Support Trust come into the equation, because I met Richard probably just over 12 months ago, and I was actually introduced by a networking contact, Ray, because I was looking for a business address. Because I guess after a few months of working from home, it gets to the point where you want to stop sending packages and everything to your home address and annoying people. So I went in and met Richard under the sort of idea that I would be getting a business address, and he actually offered me the different options that were available, including a premises to work from. And that was something that I had originally thought was quite inaccessible, very expensive, and came with a lot of, I guess, red tape and other complications. But this was about a year ago, in August of 2016, that I picked up the keys to the office, and it's been really invaluable for me as a small business. It's enabled me to obviously meet with clients and hold meetings, and also having that space away from home, which is really valuable as a small business, because it has enabled me to separate, I guess, my work and my home life, even though they obviously overlap at times. And also, I was able last year to fulfill my dream of qualified in beauty as a therapist, and offer treatments and have my own beauty room as well built in at Brodie House. So that was really, really amazing, and that is something that I've been able to do and wouldn't have otherwise. So it's been really, really good in that respect. But also in terms of mentoring support, Richard and all of the team are really keen to hook people up with mentors and introduce you to people that can support and help.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you give a big hand for John Timpson, please?
Thank you for that welcome. As you can see, I've reached the age when I can look back and reflect on the moments that made the biggest difference in my career and to my life. And one such moment happened in 1983, which is why I am here tonight. I was in a small office making a pretty amateur presentation to a severe-looking venture capitalist who was probably the lifeline to the rest of my life. The cool and calculating face on the other side of the desk was owned by Michael Stollers. I still don't know why or how he was persuaded to be the biggest investor in my management buyout, but his confidence in our project will never be forgotten. I'll come back to the buyout later, but for now, it's enough to say, Michael, I was delighted that you asked me to be your guest tonight, and hope that by being here, I can in some way repay the difference that you made to me in our business 34 years ago.
Thank you very much indeed.
After 57 years in business, I'm beginning to realise the key reasons behind success and failure. They might not admit it, but all successful business people need a bit of luck. I've had so much good fortune, I've never needed to go for a job interview. My great-grandfather started a shoe shop chain in the 1860s, and the family still had a controlling interest in what was then a public company when I started as a shop assistant in 1960. My future seemed assured, but life seldom goes according to plan. I was probably promoted too quickly, and at the age of 27 became a director, just in time to be part of a family feud. An uncle, who was very keen to take control, persuaded the rest of the board to fire my father as chairman. At a dramatic meeting, which I still vividly remember, my father was ousted by 7 votes to 2. My father and I sold our shares, and the company was subsequently acquired by the retail group United Drapery Stores, UDS, where Timpson joined other retail high street names like Alders, John Collier's and Richard shops. I didn't realise that this personal tragedy was to be my major lucky break. I spent the first 6 months with UDS working in a minor role at John Collier. To be honest, for most of the time I was either gardening or playing golf. Having had enough of doing nothing, I went down to the London head office to hand in my notice, but never got the chance. Group chairman Bernard Lowndes called me into his office and asked an odd question. Do you live anywhere near Liverpool? Wilmslow seemed near enough for him, so he continued. We run a 60-shop business there called Swears and Wells. We've just fired the finance director, the buying director and the chief executive. Will you go and run it until we can find someone decent? I was still running that business from its office in Bold Street, Liverpool, nearly 2 years later, when I was asked to become managing director of Timpson, replacing the uncle who had led the group. At the age of 32, I was running 250 shoe shops and 150 shoe repair factories. I quickly learnt that the way to survive in a conglomerate is to ensure that another subsidiary is performing worse than yours. Fortunately, UDS was full of poor performers, so I was still there 8 years later when the group was acquired by Hanson Trust, and I got the chance to do a management buyout. That's when I first met Michael Stoddart. It was a transaction which itself brought another lucky break. Due to a misunderstanding between the Hanson team and ourselves over intercompany balances, the deal was £4 million better than we expected. So we got 80% of the equity for the management. And I still vividly remembered the boardroom bus stop and got over 50% for myself. What a series of luck. What a dream deal buying back the family's business. But the next 4 years were a bit of a nightmare. The mid-80s were a bad time to have a highly leveraged chain of shoe shops. The market was overcrowded. We made a few mistakes, and I think we were probably heading for a loss. But I got another bit of luck. We managed to sell the shoe shops, but we kept 150 shoe repair outlets. This time, without private equity backing, it was just going to be a part-time hobby, but I soon realised the potential. We intended to float the shoe repair business. It was a good time to do that. There was Body Shop and Sock Shop and many people with very multiple big PE ratios, but my late wife Alex told me I was stupid. You will never like being pushed around by institutional shareholders. And as always, Alex was right. I stopped the float, but my fellow directors demanded a shareholders agreement. The company did well for a bit, and profits reached 1.6 million. But 1991 was a bad year on the high street, and our profits fell to 350,000. And the other directors wanted me to buy part of their shareholding at the valuation based on our record year. Spurred on by Alex, I took a £1 million mortgage, acquired all their shares, and from 1991, my family have owned 100% of the company. For years, I had my eye on buying the biggest competitor in the UK. It was the UK part of Just a Minute, a global shoe repair business. And when the Minute Holding Company was acquired by the Swiss bank UBS, I went to their London office to make an offer, but was met by the merchant banker with a blunt reply. We, I think he meant I, we are experts at buying family businesses and putting in professional management. And you're the next on our list. My world changed with that one remark. I suddenly realised that I potentially had a competitor with enough money to open next door to all out their shops, cut my prices and poach my best colleagues. To compete, we simply had to do a better job and provide a better service. And it was then I discovered, after 22 years running the business, the secret behind good customer service. And it's so simple and so obvious. You can't create exceptional service through a set of rules. The only way is to trust the colleagues in our shops with the freedom to serve each customer the best way they can. Having found the answer, I set off on a crusade which I called upside down management, with the shop colleagues in control and every tier of management there, not to give orders, but to help and support. At the start, shop colleagues simply didn't trust me. To emphasise their freedom, I told them they could pay out up to £500 to settle a customer complaint, without reference to anyone else. And I let them use our price list as a guide. They had my permission to charge whatever they want. It took 5 years to change our culture, and we learned a lot of lessons along the way. It took time to stop middle management issuing orders and getting them to put their efforts behind giving praise, help and support, rather than policing a process. It is not easy for managers to delegate authority while keeping responsibility. Most executives do it the other way around. The biggest lesson we learned was about our people. Our upside-down way of working only succeeds with the right characters. Our recruitment was all wrong. We were looking for cobblers and key cutters when we should have been picking people with personality. We can teach a guy with character how to repair shoes, but you can't put personality into a grumpy cobbler. I had to find a way to teach our people how to recruit the personality, and the answer was a new assessment form, in pictures rather than words. It showed a collection of Mr. Men, caricatures of characters that included Mr. Quick, Mrs. Keen, Mr. Smart and Miss Happy. There are also some less positive people, like Mr. Grumpy, Miss Slow, Mr. Scruffy and Mrs. Phil. Under each picture was an empty box. We simply asked the interviewer, not the interviewee, the interviewer to tick the boxes under the pictures that were closest to the people in front of them. It worked. Our people looked beyond the CV and the white lies people tell us in an interview. They started to pick people purely on personality. And the improvement in the calibre of new recruits has been a major factor in our success over the last 10 years. We're not interested in qualifications, never use psychometric testing or team building exercises. We simply see which Mr. Men boxes they tick, and then get all the possible candidates to work for a day in one of our shops, after which the colleagues who've worked with them tell us all we need to know. We also learned a tough lesson. Even with our interview technique, we don't always get it right. Some only show their true character after they start work. You do no one any favours if you hang on to the passenger, Mr. Lazy, Miss Late, Mr. Dull, and Mrs. Jobsworth. People who get in the way of progress and irritate your superstars. There is no need to write a series of warning letters which are purely a devious device to keep the paperwork neat for a possible tribunal. The right thing to do is simply to tell your passenger that their best is not good enough for you, and to borrow a phrase used by the Disney Corporation, say that you will help them to find their happiness elsewhere, as nicely, as generously, and as quickly as possible. Management spends far too much time with the poor performers. HR departments do little else. The job seekers allowance brings us a lot of unnecessary work, interviewing people who are desperately don't want a job, but fill in application forms simply to ensure they continue to qualify for their benefit payments. It is time we faced up to the fact that people differ in their ability, attitude and potential. For a variety of reasons, some people are simply not suited to the world of work. This is a major problem. It is almost totally misunderstood and almost entirely ignored. We spend a fair slice of our time saying goodbye to people who we find are not keen on cobbling or have a poor attitude to work. It is unfair to expect your star performers to work alongside Mr. Slow, Miss Sicky, Mr. Lazy and Mrs. Don't Care. Quickly saying goodbye to your poor performers brings a major improvement to the company atmosphere and makes the business easier to manage. Something else. A guardian angel called Alex. Alex, my wife, died at the beginning of last year. When we married, I could not have guessed what she was going to bring into our life. Alex was trained as a nursery nurse, a nanny. And when the youngest of our 3 children first went to school, she looked for more to do. And Alex found the perfect role as a foster carer. We came off the fostering register 31 years, 90 foster children and 2 adopted children later. And then Alex became a Home Start volunteer, a role she fitted in between 8 grandchildren and 3 former foster families that she cared for. Alex set an example that the business has followed. Through her inspiration, we developed our free job scheme, which in 17 years has raised over £4 million to help children's charities. For a little bit of stitching or a hole in the belt, we do the job for nothing but ask the customer to put £1 in the charity box. And James, our eldest son and chief executive, has developed an amazing scheme that helps us employ people directly from prison. We now have 500 ex-offenders working at Timston, which is just about 10% of the payroll. See, Alex gave us all a bit of a social conscience. But she also taught me to make decisions based on common sense. Her ability to see the simple answer to a supposedly complicated question had a profound impact on our business. Taking a risk, I once did one of those business documentaries which aimed to discover the story behind the business. At one point, the programme presenter, Peter Jones from the Dragon's Den, met up with Alex and asked why she decided to be a foster carer. He was taken aback by her reply. "There are too many takers in this world," said Alex. "I get a real buzz out of helping other people." At which point I observed that you can do good and still have a really good business that makes lots of money. It is a much more welcome message than most people would imagine. Early in January, I used my Telegraph column to suggest that the perfect New Year's resolution for people in business would be to promote and demonstrate kindness. It got an unusually large response from readers with 100% approval. To my mind, the real evil of the last 50 years is how procedure, best practice and statutory box ticking have taken precedence over the main objective. We're losing sight of what the organisation is there for. Employers are now told that their job is to tick the right boxes, stick to the national guidelines and follow best practice. Management success is measured by the ability to stick to the rules laid down by government, lawyers, insurance companies and HR professionals. This obsession with process ignores initiative and denies delegation. Social workers, teachers, nurses and also my cobblers should be trusted with the freedom to do their job the way they know best. We shouldn't be telling them what to do every step of the way. They should be given the right training, then trusted to do the job. There's no doubt in my mind that regulations are getting in the way of inspiring children in school, treating patients in hospital, and looking after the needs of children in the care of the local authority. My maverick approach of ignoring the rules that simply don't seem like common sense and trusting my colleagues with the freedom they need has made a massive difference to the quality of service we give our customers. I've learned a lot from our work with prisons. First lesson, keep it simple. There are many charities that help people leaving prison with counselling, interview techniques and short-term placements, but the best and simplest way to prevent reoffending is to give prison leavers a full-time job. We've been doing it for 14 years, and there's nearly 50 colleagues who joined us from prison who've been with us for over 5 years, and there are 20 recruits who already have risen up to the middle management, and we've got now 2 area managers who joined us from prison. We discovered early on, though, that we can't perform miracles. There are some disappointments when we tried to train some of the toughest criminals who were too tricky to convert to a world of trust. We now know that, wherever they come from, our colleagues must come with a positive personality. We don't want to set people up to fail. I talk a lot these days about kindness, but that doesn't extend to those people who let down their colleagues and the organisation. Managers can't win out of the responsibility to say goodbye to anyone who gets in the way of progress and fails to gain respect from their best colleagues. The best businesses, government departments, local authorities and schools are those that have the best people. Every organisation needs to show some tough love, and so does the country. Employment law, together with the tax benefit system, assumes that everyone who can work should work. I disagree. There are plenty of people that I don't want in my organisation. I suspect that most other employees deep down feel the same. That's one of the biggest problems we've failed to face, is what should be done about those people who are unsuited to work. In my work world of upside-down management, no boss is allowed to issue orders. Their job is to look after the members of their team, which often involves helping to solve problems outside work. Some of their most valuable work can involve advice on divorce, drugs, bereavement and debt. At times, our area managers act like social workers, or even parish priests. Looking after your colleagues is the key to running a good organisation. We're a family business, and our colleagues are part of the family. I'm often asked how we manage to get so many nice people working in our shops. It helps to pick people on personality, but it makes a big difference to colleagues when they are trusted to use their initiative, not simply told what to do. Having the freedom to do things in your own way creates confidence and is good for personal well-being. Their friends and family often notice the difference. If I had to pick out the most important event of my career, it would have to be meeting Alex. That most certainly was my biggest stroke of luck. On top of her partnership and sound advice, the fostering opened my eyes to a wider world, which is why I'm now campaigning to help schools understand more about the needs of looked after children. I'm often asked, how many children are you still in touch with? Some families have become permanent parts of our lives, but we often wondered what happened to the very first two, Simon and Shaw, who were taken away 10 days before Christmas. They were with us for exactly 6 months, the limit for short-term fostering in those days. We were told they'd gone to another family, but we discovered that they were actually gone to the local children's home. That was in 1980. Last summer, my son James received a letter from an inmate in Liverpool prison asking for a job interview prior to his release. The letter was from Shaw, one of those two boys we first fostered. He got the interview and has been working for us for the last 9 to 10 months. A few weeks ago, I found myself wondering what business leaders should give up for Lent. It would be great to have 40 days without unnecessary box ticking, unattainable targets, company politics, and big bosses who stick in the office, issuing orders, and never meet the frontline employers who bring in the profit. Even more important is my list of things for leaders to be doing during Lent. Businesses would benefit if more leaders were to practice true delegation, take action on those difficult decisions that have been put on hold due to a lack of moral courage, spend more time on praising the staff performance, and run their business in a spirit of kindness, served up with a decent dollop of common sense. Managers of UK businesses touch more people's lives than teachers, churches, or social services. Business leaders are in a privileged position, and, as Alex pointed out, there aren't enough givers in this world. We can do good, and do the business a lot of good at the same time. So finally, before I officially open your new centre, I would like to wish every success with the support you're giving to young people who want to start a business. It's a great gift that you're giving them. And as a very small contribution to the fundraising, I brought a number of copies of my latest book, which are on a table somewhere over there, which are available to anyone who would like to buy them. I'm suggesting a price of £10, all going to support your charity. if you're embarrassed at the fact that that's a discount on the £12.99 price that it actually is, then you could always put in £20 or £15. That's entirely up to you. But please be generous, and I hope if you do buy it that you'll enjoy the book. But having said all that, I'm very pleased to officially open this new centre and wish you every success, and particularly the people who are going to start businesses as a result, lots of success with their businesses.
So ladies and gentlemen, if we can just put our hands together, just to show our